Hello and welcome to another exciting Breakfast with Unity. I'm your host, Max Moreau, and today we're going to be doing some more visualizer fun. This time we're going to show how to use the spectrum data to actually spawn objects based on audio. So, we're going to be doing stuff that's similar to a previous project, so I'm going to probably copy over a C# script that we've used before. Let me just quickly create a folder for this. We're going to call this spawning based on audio. Alright, so where's our other visualizer thing? Basic visualizer. And actually, let's not do that one. Spectrum visualizer, there we go. So I'm going to copy this line visualizer, or at least I'm just going to open it up. And we're going to take a look at what we had here. And I'm going to look at it in the scene real quick so that we can see what this thing does. Because it's been a little while since we've seen this one. So what this does is it does a line renderer, and then it shows all of the different points of audio based on what we're doing with our samples of the audio system here. So let me just open up Spectrum Visualizer. So what this does is if we hit play, we get an actual line visualizer that shows what the audio is doing. And so we're going to be using something like this to spawn objects, basically, except for we're only going to be looking at one portion of the waveform, and then we're going to have like a cutoff that shows where it spawns something. So let's go ahead and create a new scene. And we're going to, I'm just going to save this. We're just going to call it audio spawn. I don't feel like typing all those words. Alright, so there we go. It's in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a new script. Create C# script called spawn based on audio is what we're going to call it. Preferences, quit virus snap tool. Alright, so I'm going to copy what we have in here and kind of go over it. And we're going to change things as we need to make this more into a spawning script. So the way this thing works right now is we get the spectrum data. It gets put into samples, which is just an array of floats, and the size of it is the number of discrete chunks that we have channels that we have to listen to. So we're just going with 1024. That works pretty well. You can probably make it smaller, especially for the case that we're going to be doing right now. But I'm just going to keep it at 1024 for right now. And what this one did is it went through each sample and then checked what you wanted. But what we're going to do is we're going to specify a sample that we want that has the data that we want. So I'm going to get rid of this cutoff sample. We don't need this. We don't need the amplitude, though we're going to have something similar. I'm just going to comment it out for right now. And definitely don't need the line renderer and step size. But what we will need is, and we probably don't need size either. What we will need is public float spawn threshold. And I'm going to default this to 0.5f. And we're going to need a public int frequency, and I'm going to default that to, I'm going to default it to 0, I guess. Might be more meaningful to be a little bit higher than that, because 0 is probably lower than really human spectrum hearing. Well, these are tweak values anyway, so it's not a big deal. And then finally, we're going to need the object to spawn. It's public game object to spawn. Actually, I'm going to call it object prefab. Save. Alright, so we don't need this stuff anymore. We do need audio listener. We care about that. And we don't need this for loop anymore. So all we're going to do is we're going to do if samples frequency is greater than threshold, spawn threshold. So what this means is, so this is a array, and its values are from, so you have from 0 to 1024, and each one of those contains a value, and that value is based on how loud the audio is for that frequency, or how much of that frequency there is. So, so if we are greater than our spawn threshold, and this value I think goes between 0 and 1, though it might be -1 and 1. So keep that in mind. We can double check that pretty quickly. I'm pretty sure it's 0 and 1. And so, so 0.5 is about roughly halfway up. It might not be that easy to hit 0.5. We may have to tweak that much lower. So we'll see how this actually turns out. So if it's greater than the spawn threshold, then what we're going to do is we're going to instantiate object prefab transform position and transform rotation. Save. All right. So now we have the script. Let's see if it's compiled. Looking good. All right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to need an object to spawn. So I'm going to create a sphere. Yeah, we just go basic on this stuff. And we're just going to give it a move forward script. So this thing will just move forward as it moves, and we're just going to create a prefab of it and delete it from the scene. And let's go ahead and, where's the main camera here? Let's just create like a couple of empty objects. We'll put one on the left, like -0.5. Actually, let's do -2. And Z0 and Y0. Let's make the camera be at Y0. And let's make game object 1 be at +2. So we're going to put spawn based on audio for each of these objects. And we're going to need some audio. So I'm going to go with, what tracks do we have here in third-party licensed? Yeah, let's do this one. I think this is the same one that we were listening to earlier on the previous project, but I think it works pretty well for this type of thing. So I'm just going to put this on the main camera, and we're going to make it a 2D sound. Oh, it already is a 2D sound. Perfect. And yeah, so if we... Do we have these scripts on here? So if we hit play right now, let's see what we get. We're probably not going to get a whole lot of anything. Okay, so this is actually a different track. That's fine, too. So we're not getting anything yet. I'm going to change the spawn threshold of one of these guys. The variable object prefab. Oh, we didn't actually assign our... So it did try to spawn something there, so that's good. So we just didn't actually assign our spawn value. So we're going to put spheres here. We're going to hit play. And first what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, instead of doing the spawn threshold, I'm going to try and change the frequency until we get some spawning. See if there's anything that catches at 0.5. Just kind of sweep through here. Alright, so that's not really helping us too much. So let's try 0.1. Alright. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. Did we get something there? Alright. 0.5. Let's try this. And let's go 128 and see what we get. Maybe we should actually output the values that we're getting in some way. You know, I'm going to do it. So we could just have it output to console. I'm going to use another little trick. Since we have these values here that we can see, one of the little tricks you can do is you can just create a public float debug value. And what we're going to do is debug value equals samples frequency. And actually, we'll do this ahead here. So now we'll have another thing here that we're not really supposed to tweak, but every frame it'll update with our actual value that we're getting for that output, so that we can kind of see what we're looking at. So yeah, these are incredibly small values. Still very, very, very small values. Alright, so with this knowledge, let's see what we can do. So we're going to make this much smaller. Let's do 0, 0, 5. This is probably going to be too small. There we go. Let's try 0, 1. Let's change the frequency. These are not positioned the way I had imagined. Why is the, oh, it's not at the position I thought it was at. I thought this was supposed to be at, oh. What did I move? Okay, well, this should be at 0, 0, and 2. And actually, let's make these both face the camera. I'm just going to turn them 180 degrees. Alright. Let's do... Okay, so this is the one that we haven't been tweaking. So let's tweak this one again. Let's go up to 0.1. A little higher. Let's go to point. Okay, so we got one distinct thing there a moment ago. Let's try... So you can see that we're getting that clap a little bit when it comes in sometimes. Let's make the threshold a little bit lower. Alright, and then let's play around with the other one here. We're going to make the value similarly low, 0.005, and then we're going to change the frequency range to be like 750 or something. This one is in a different position, right? Oh, duh. Alright, first, let's get to these values because they're kind of working. 128.005. And let's put this actually at -2. There we go. And let's try 005 and like 650 or something as a test. Alright, well, we've got some stuff going on here. This is the basic concept, though. We probably could do something where we listen to more of a range rather than a very discrete frequency. The other thing that might be useful for us is to actually visualize the song as well, using our previous visualizer. So I'm going to copy this right now. We're just going to add that to the scene real quick, but we're not going to retweak anything. So if we copy the component, we can get this stuff. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the debug value stuff, though I'm going to leave it in here in case we need it. I'm going to officially delete everything else that we don't need. And save. And what are we going to do now? We're going to... Oh yeah, I just wanted to put that visualizer back in here. So if we go into... where's that? Spectrum visualizer, there it is. Save. And I'm just going to duplicate this, put it in here, and then we can reference it in spawning based on audio. I'm just going to drag this in. And I'm gonna, yeah, we'll just keep that in here and hit play and see how this looks real quick. Cool. I like it. All right. Save it. Let's call it good. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me today. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. If you have any questions, please email me, pushypixels@pushypixels.com. You can also tweet me at Drakfire. That's DRAKFYRE. Please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/cookingwithunity. Really appreciate your support. And you guys have a great one. I will catch you tonight with more Scape. For realsies, sorry it's been so bumpy. It's just been bumpy life lately. So, have a great one, and see you tonight.